So a lot of applicants have been asking me whether they should prepare and take the February 2025 or July 2025 exam coming off not passing the July 2024 exam. And there's never a perfect time to take the test, but there are definitely factors to consider in strategizing when the next time or the next ideal time to take the test for each applicant is. So let me try and shed some light and we'll go from there. So number one, if you're coming off of July 24 and you really gave it your all in your previous preparation, you did good preparation, not just cramming for the tests, which means that your scores are pretty indicative of where you stand and your clarity level of what the standard requires from you, then I want you to look at how many scaled points you are away from the 1390. And if you're less than about 175, 200 is pushing it a little bit, but let's just say if you're less than 200 points and you're not working and you have an open schedule for the most part, I mean, the less points you have to come up, and you want to buffer it. So you don't want to just say I was 50 points away. You want to give yourself at least an additional 20 to 25 points on top of that. Then you can go for February, and definitely your preparation should be changed up. Even if you're going back to a previous course that you took because you like that course, applicants do that with CA bar style as well. We change and modify the preparation to fit the holes and the gaps that I see happened. And of course, consider all different factors, but it's really important that you assess how much you have going on. And also if your mind is in the right place, like, do you feel really burnt out and tired? Maybe pushing it for the exam right now is not the right decision. So I would maybe wait. So these are things that we consider in a consult. And you're welcome to book one of those. I'll talk about that at the end. But you want to look at what you have on your plate of life. And if you don't have a lot coming up and you can have a pretty focused preparation and you're in that margin of 200 points or less, then you should prepare for February, or you can prepare for February. It is attainable. Now, 150 to 200 point mark, again, is attainable, but we've done it many times with our applicants, but we have to look at also what happened. So there's factors to consider, where are you scoring low? Is it the performance test, the essays, all three areas, and really what went wrong in your previous preparation or execution of the exam. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit there. Now for July, maybe even, if you're 50 to 100 points away, you've built some great momentum, I would definitely not take February off. So, in that case, if you take the time off, you could get rusty, and all this momentum that you built could definitely create a dip in your scoring for July. And I've seen that happen a lot of times. So to bring it back, 200 points, you can take February, but if you're less than 100 points away, 100 points being the max, definitely take February because you are so close and there's things you can do to increase that score range. But again, really change up your preparation. Do not do the same thing over. Do not go from one commercial bar prep to another. It's usually the same scheme. A lot of factors now have to be taken into consideration and modified to make sure your connectivity level is at a high level so that you never have to take this again. Now, for those that maybe are not within that margin or maybe have a lot going on, I've been talking to applicants that have to get back to work, that don't want to lose a job, let's say, that was waiting on them passing, or they already took so much time off. I would wait for July or even perhaps February 2026, which seems really far off. But by the way, the bars come really quickly. So life goes quickly, and when you're studying and you're waiting for the exam, you can talk to other early prep applicants or other applicants that will tell you, I just started 3 months ago, but it flew. Like, it goes really fast. So, make sure you are evaluating all factors. And if you are within 175, 200 point margin, really consider taking February off and instead going for July or the next February to give yourself more of an elongated bar preparation. So we have early prep. It's super popular. I will have 2 rounds for the July exam, one starting January 7th and then another one in February and maybe one in March. I'm not sure. It depends on how the demand is, which is typically pretty high, but that will give you time to really get connected with law, start plugging in holes and things that you need to improve in, and having a very slow paced connectivity level where you're not, grinding 8 to 10 hour days or 6 to 8 hour days, which is what I usually recommend, but you are taking your time with maybe 10 hours per week. And I'll have more to say in early prep videos I'll make later this week, but you really want to evaluate how off you are. And then also, if you're 200 points off and you're a parent and you're also working, that's a lot to increase with other factors that you have that could be a potential distraction. So of course, book the consults with me if you want me to evaluate all this, and I will give you my opinion if you want it based on what I do and what I see, because you got to be realistic and you don't want to keep taking this thing. Now, another question I'm getting is, should I wait for July or February 26th because of these Kaplan questions? I'm a little worried about not knowing exactly what the format is going to be. I took a pretty good look at the sample questions that came out from the State Bar. They're really analogous to adaptive bar practice and what we've seen from the NCBE in the past years and the release of real released questions. I would not be worried about it at all. I think that you have good practice to practice on. Of course, we're going to be doing all those sample questions in my course, but I actually think they're looking a little more straightforward than the NCBE standard. So you're going to be just fine. That would not be a deteriorating factor, that would not be a detrimental factor to whether or not to take the February exam. Of course, if you're taking July or February 26th, then you'll have a much better understanding of what those questions look like. But based on the totality of what I've seen and the feedback from the experimental applicants that took the questions already, I would not let that deter me from thinking about the word I used, deteriorating. I don't even know where that came from. But anyhow, I would not let that deter me from taking the test, okay? So hopefully that gives you some insight. If you want me to really strategize with you and analyze your scores, I have consult spots still available for this week. Send me a direct email at cabarstyle@yahoo.com. That's cabarstyle@yahoo.com. Have a beautiful Sunday. And, if you're thinking still about the pressure of having to take this again, I was listening to a great video last night about sometimes when we fail things, it really does show inevitably our character and who we are. So remember that this is building your growth and it's building who you are as a person, which I'm sure is already an amazing person, but you're going to be able to look back, be really proud of this journey one day, despite how hard it may feel or seem right now. I hope you all have a great Sunday. Be well.